about 1.5 pounds of clay. This is not my wheel, so I'm not used to it.
That's what sticks really
It should,
badly.
and this one you have to,
Oh,
you really have to, I have
Yeah.
to adjust it. All of these sometime, when we have,
And I kind of get used to the one I've been working. I try to work on the same
yeah,
one, so I've gotten used to.
used with how it works, yeah. This one I gotta fix.
That helps.
that happens to all of us.
What would you do?
This is my
Oh,
wheel.
there's a little adjustment. I just, pretty little.
Personally, it doesn't bother me.
Now, when I'm
Sticks keeps me from accidentally nudging it.
centering,
Yeah.
I bring my clay up, push it down 2 or 3 times. I find that makes it easier to center. Usually, at least by the 3rd time, when I push it down, it's all centered. And sometimes by the 2nd time. Then I'll put use my thumbs to put a little dent in the clay in the center. That tells me where the center is when I'm going to open up. And I open up with my thumbs. Now my outside fingers are not putting any pressure, they're just kind of surrounding the clay. But I can, by using my thumbs, it makes a wider hole and I get a better feel for how deep I'm going. And then I'll take to pull it out, my thumbs still together. It's like one motion for me. And when I'm pulling out, my little pinky finger is going around the bottom of the plate where I'm going to have the foot. Now to throw these mugs, you start out with the cylinder. When you get the thing pulled out, you want to compress the clay on the bottom. Just run your finger back and forth a couple of times. And then do the pull-up. You want to keep the clay wet. If it starts pulling or it feels sticky to your fingers, you need to wet things down. Now for my 3rd pull-up, I have to stand up. Is that going to stay? Because I can't get a good straight line by going like this. Some people can. More power to them. I have to stand up. And compress the rim. The more you compress the rim, the more often you do it, the more likely you are to have an even rim. Now you want your cylinder to be taller than what you want your mug to be, because when you stretch it out, it's going to shorten.
Are you putting pressure on the inside?
Yes.
Pull it out.
On both sides just a little bit. Whatever pressure is needed to make it a straight cylinder. And then I'll take my rib and take off the excess slurry. And it does several things. it takes off the excess slurry, it takes out the throw rings, and it compresses the clay, which is a good thing. And then for this, I'll do it on the inside too, without trying to put a lot of pressure on it. Press the rim again. Now we're ready to blow it out. Slow it down a little bit. Now some people use a rib to do this, some people use a sponge. I use my fingers. And you just go down and push out a little bit at a time. Come up, up. If you do it all at once, it's going to collapse. And then when you've got it pretty much the shape you want, you're going to compress the pot again because you've stretched the clay, it needs to be compressed again. So this time I'm not really shaping it, I'm just supporting it on the inside while I'm compressing the clay. And then I'll just take the rim and shape it how I want it to be shaped. Take the water out of the inside. And now it's ready to set up. Do not cut it off the pot, off the pad at this time because we need it to stick there for the next session, the next step. Okay? And what I'll do, I threw some yesterday, so I'll go get one of those and show you the next step. Great. Use if you want. This is the top of a coffee can that I got and divided. I need a divider. You can do it by eye if you can't, if you want to. I need the divider. So, and you just center it on the top. Go around and make little marks, top and bottom. And then remember to bring all my stuff.
I always have that problem.
So this time you want to wet your wooden rib, and you start where down here and go to the next one on the top. You've got your fingers inside to support the clay that you don't want pressed in. And you go around the pot doing that. Now this pot is not leather hard, it's a lot softer than that, it's still sticky, but it is stronger than when you first done throwing it. You kind of have to experiment to figure out what that works for you. And then I take my sponge and just kind of clean those lines up a little bit.
So basically, you could do that with any pot that you do, not necessarily be in a mug.
Right. I make soup bowls from it. You can use this technique to do teapots. Depending on the soup bowls are shorter and wider. Teapots are bigger. You can leave the swirls off of it and just have a plain bowed out piece, whatever. And now I've got that done. If the rim is gone out of the round because of my manipulation, it can go back on the wheel and
You can adjust that because you haven't cut it off at all
That's
yet.
right. So if the rim is good and round, at this point you can cut it and let it go to leather hard to be trimmed. And add a handle. Or not.
Thank you, Gwen.
Thank you, Gwen.
What's your one big piece of advice to learn how to throw?
Practice. There's not one thing, but you've got to practice. Practice and practice. It took me a very long time before I could throw anything that I thought was halfway decent.
Don't get the bottoms too thin.
Don't
I
get-
found that
A lot of
out.
bottom
Windows
knots in ours.
too.
All right. Well, thanks.
Very nice. Thank you.